Well, good morning. Happy July 30th, 2022. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you. I can see my head's barely above the line there. But if you need IT consulting, reach out at williehowe.com. If we can't help you, we'll get you to someone who can. If you can hear me, let me know over in the chat. I see a few people here this morning. Good morning, SPX Labs, DJ Ware. Good morning, everybody. Please let me know if you can hear me. Good morning, Gordon. I'm not sure. It's been a few weeks since we did this. And I do appreciate everybody that's reached out. Sometimes you just got to have a little time to recharge your batteries. And so that's kind of what I've been working on. Good morning, Gina. Good morning, Joe. All right, loud and clear. We're going to talk about a couple things. I don't know if TVJ is here or not. Good morning, Jeremy. Looks like there's 20 of you and 9 likes. Good morning, Southern Phone Mans Telecom. Talk about a couple things. First, we've got a mail call here. Mail call box showed up, so I put we kind of talked about a little request for help, right? Like, how do you test Wi-Fi at scale? And so at first, good morning, Tony. At first, I was looking at Raspberry Pis, and then somebody asked if the new one would do it. But really, when I'm testing this, what I need is a device that has 5 gigahertz or 2.4, right? So we can kind of see what's going on. Good morning, TVJ is in the house. So this box showed up. Jay was awesome, reached out, was one of the few people that reached out, and I just opened this box this morning, and it has 4 iPhones individually bagged. Did you wipe all the fingerprints and all the stuff off here, Jay? So I got to get these fired up. And when we start using these for testing, and when I do the video for this will be crazy, because I've got of my own. I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phones, so 9. So I'm quite a ways away from the 50 clients, but I still think we'll get there. But this is a great start. Thank you, Jay. This is fantastic. 4 phones, and we're going to add them to the pile of phones for testing. And once we hit like 50 devices, we're going to start being able to test APs a little bit better than we used to. It'll be interesting to see how this evolves. So I sold my 3D printer to a guy that I work with. His daughter wanted to get into 3D printing. I wasn't using it much, so I sold it at a huge loss just to get it in the hands of a kid that wanted to learn about 3D printing and stuff like that. Now I'm wondering, getting into some of these projects where I'm trying to plan them out a little better, I'm wondering if I'm going to have to get a 3D printer again. I don't know. So we'll see. Good morning, Raj, Michael, James, CH. Good morning, everybody. I do have a 9:30 a.m. stop. I have to make a phone call at 9:30. But what else are we going to talk about? First of all, if you are in the chat and you have questions, networking questions, voice over IP questions, go ahead and put those in the chat. Apparently, though, if you haven't heard, the Powerball, like a new billionaire was made last night from Powerball, and the ticket was in Illinois. I'm on this live stream, so the ticket wasn't mine. Well, it's also not Tim or James, but I think those guys partially got their money back on their tickets. So, yeah. All right, so couple things. Perfect. Jay says that those phones are factory reset. So what I'll end up doing is I'll end up making an iCloud account for each of them, and I'll have to figure it out because they won't get activated on cellular service. They'll be Wi-Fi only. So I haven't done that, at scale. So that'll also, that will also be a learning process. Good morning, Rohan. Okay, so, we're doing Grandstream training next week. It's Grandstream Certified Professional Training. Class is full, which is fantastic. And I can't wait to see everybody. It's going to be 2 to 3 days of learning, and I want to make sure everybody, grasps the concepts, and then, of course, passes the exam on day number 3 so that they leave with their certified professional credential. That is the goal. Iron Fist says they won $6 on $20 spent. Yeah, so it was funny because in Illinois, they've got an Illinois lottery app. Good morning, Cecil. And last night, Tim and James both reminded me I forgot to stop on the way home and get tickets. I normally don't play the lotto, but normally the lotto is not $1 billion, right? So I was going to buy $20 worth, and my credit card company rejected it in the app, and then because my credit card's linked to Google Pay, it also rejected it. So it's probably a good thing. All right, so along with Grandstream training, I've got a couple devices that Grandstream sent me. I want to thank them for sending this over. The first one, you've seen Tony do a few videos on it, and it is the WP822, and I think Jason has also done video on it. And this is the third Wi-Fi phone in their series of Wi-Fi VoIP phones. So I'm going to get this fired up. I'm actually going to take this to the class with me. That's the first place we're going to fire it up. We'll adopt it to my UCM. My UCM has a Telnex account on it. So during the class, we'll be able to, make and receive live calls and things like that. So this is definitely going to be hooked up. I'm going to take a bunch of devices to let people look, like when we take breaks and when we're on lunch and things like that, just to kind of see what some of the offerings are. I'm not going to try to upsell people, but I do want folks coming to a professional certified class to know what their options are. I think I can't get this thing back in the plastic bag. I think that is a proper thing to do, don't you? So Joe says maybe MDM or some other device management company will sponsor the project by giving free licenses. That would be pretty cool. So I am used to Mosel. If you've ever used that, I know some people use the free version of Jamf, but I'm actually looking at Microsoft Intune as well, and not just the Intune for mobile devices, but the Intune for Windows workstations as well. So anyway, so this WP822, you'll see a video on this pretty soon. So that's coming. Thank you, Grandstream. Grandstream also sent a bunch of swag for the class: pens, bottles openers, stress balls, bags, and whatever we don't give away during the class, we're going to give away on the channel. The other thing, good morning, Alejandro. Good morning. The other thing they sent me was, Grandstream is also into facility management, and they're doing it a little bit differently than the other. I think the closest company that I would compare Grandstream to would be the Axis solution in the 2N. But this is the GDS 3702, which is a new device in the intercom access system. I also have a GDS 3710. James doesn't know this yet, and I don't know if he's on the live stream, but James will be taking a 3710 home with him from training. But this is the new 3702. You can see there's no camera. There's no pad, right? So what we're used to on the current devices is you either have a camera and some sort of a vinyl number pad, or we have no camera and stainless steel number pad. Well, this has no camera, no number pad, so obviously the price is going to be lower. It does have intercom, and it does have, I'm trying to see, so with the devices that can use cards to get in, they typically send fobs and cards. It doesn't look like you can use programmed prox cards with this. So I'm assuming that it's going to be way, way, way cheaper. I haven't seen the street price on this yet. The other thing, these plastic bags are killing me. We need to get a group together to just talk to vendors. And it's not just Grandstream. It's a lot of these vendors about sustainability with packaging. I think packaging is you could probably simplify every manufacturer's packaging. So, folks are going to get to see that range of devices. I'm going to take all the different phones with me because I think I have almost one of every Grandstream phone. So we'll have to see about that. All right, over to the comments. TVJ says, we are switching to Intune at work. Now, I'm not sure which pricing you're looking at, Jay, or what you've seen. I've seen like an $8, which is like mobile devices only, and then like a $14, and this is per user per month, and that includes Windows and all key management, all kinds of stuff. So, good morning, Clarence. Let's see. Yeah, Tony had a really great follow-up. This morning on his WP822. So if you haven't checked that out, go watch Tony's video on that. Question, did you ever install certificates for Grandstream phones for 802.1x? On the UCM 6300 PBX only allows you to upload the certs but not generate the CRS, which seems like a manual process. So I don't think that might be, it's probably not covered in the cert class. I think you're actually coming to the, I think you're coming to the class, aren't you? Maybe not. I know I do have an Alejandro in the class. And wait a minute, are you? I'm getting old. I can't see Alejandro. I have an Alejandro in the class. Anyway, there's a couple different ways to do certs for the UCM. Now, what I'm talking about is SSL certificates for the web interface. I'm not talking about 802.1x certificates. I've not had a request yet to do 802.1x certificates. So no, but as far as the SSL certificates, you can either let it get generated by Let's Encrypt, or you can do a CSR, get the cert issued, and then upload the cert. I do agree that it's a little bit of a clunky process, and I do think it could be streamlined a little bit, and I've been talking to Grandstream about that. All right, back over to the comments. David says, I'm working on a project for free city-wide public Wi-Fi in the Philippines, and I want to use Unify. What control can I use to manage the 30 sites and 100 access points? So I applaud you for taking on a project like citywide Wi-Fi. First of all, that even in a small town where maybe 1,000 people, 500 to 1,000 people live, right? That is a huge task. I don't know how big your city is that you're working on, but there's a lot of moving pieces to that, and that is a project that has to be planned and executed. At least here, where we would be using public dollars for it, would need to be executed well. Otherwise, people are going to complain because you're using public dollars for that, and it doesn't work. We could spend a whole live stream just talking about the theory of the design behind a public Wi-Fi system like that. We did have a customer that was doing some public Wi-Fi like that, but it was in certain spots. It wasn't like a blanket over the entire city. And man, that thing went through several iterations. You may find that Unify, if you're trying to do like a complete blanket, Unify may not be the product that you want to use. There's a lot to that. So I'm sorry I can't give you a specific answer on that, but there's a lot to unpack with that question. Clarence says, class, I guess I'm out of the loop. Clarence Christensen. So I had sent out, if you're not on the newsletter, I went to the newsletter first, and then I did a video on it. Grandstream Certified Professional Training, August 1st through 3rd. Registration is now closed. The class is full, our first class of 2022, and we're looking forward to being able to do this quarterly. But the class is full, so at the end of the class, the students will sit for the Grandstream Certified Professional Certification. I will proxy the exam in person. Grandstream does not allow me to teach this class remotely and proxy remotely. It all has to be done on site. It is a hands-on class, so every student is bringing a UCM 63 whatever and 2 handsets, optionally an access point. But it's going to be interesting to see how this goes, because everybody will have a different level, because one of the prereqs is you have to get the very first cert, which is free and done online. Last person I talked to, I think it took him about 5 hours to go through that, but it'll definitely be interesting to see how everybody learns together and how we get through the exam. So this is our, like I said, our first one. First live training in a long time. Iron Fist says, on a farm here, I can compost cardboard minus the plastic tape, but plastic is difficult. Yeah, plastic is very difficult. So Clarence, I actually thought about doing a training in Vegas in October, but I have not pulled the lever on that yet. That one will be a lot more difficult, I think, to get set up than one in Peoria, Illinois. All right, so one other thing that I wanted to talk about. So, information security is a passion of mine. It is something that I dedicate a large amount of my time to. And going through spam box, looking at the kind of stuff that's out there, what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip on over to the other screen over here. This is Google Domains. And I buy a lot of domains through Google Domains. It's who I recommend. And it's, Google just makes the process easy. It's what they do. And here's the thing, right? So, when you're a CISSP, there's a code of conduct. All of us should operate on a code of conduct anyway. And so, but a lot of folks that are very intelligent, we should be glad that they operate on a code of conduct. I mean, you can go over here. I was just looking at the domains that were sending spam to these spam boxes, and it's crazy. But let's do something like Microsoft antivirus. Let's see what domains are available for Microsoft antivirus. The Google machine is spinning, and it's going to come back, and I can buy Microsoft-antivirus. Now, I'm not going to buy this, so if anybody from Microsoft is watching this, any other information security professionals are watching this, I'm not doing this. But here is where I'm going with this. I could buy Microsoft-antivirus.com. I can use the domain function to hide all of the registration contacts. I could do a couple things. I could pivot with this, right? You could do a couple things with this. You could pivot. You could start off with the site and just send mass emails to people saying, hey, your antivirus is expiring. And you could do, renewals at Microsoft-antivirus.com. Hey, your antivirus is expiring. We're willing to give you a free 30-day extension. And you could just create a WordPress site that does nothing but harvest usernames and passwords, direct them to that site. They put in their credentials, and now you've got their credentials. There are still a large amount of people, for some reason, that don't have multi-factor authentication enabled. If you are watching this and you do not have multi-factor authentication enabled, stop watching it. Go turn on multi-factor authentication. You can come back and watch this replay later, but that's how important multi-factor authentication is. Turn it on. The other thing that you could do is you could choose a price point at which people will swallow it and not think twice. You could write a really convincing web page. I could have this done by lunch today. That we direct people to it, and hey, your antivirus is expiring. Put in your username, password here. You could discard those, but here, fill out this form with your credit card information, and you could start charging people $19.99. And I would bet if you sent out 10,000 emails, I would bet that you would get 500 people that would send you $20, right? So you got to be very careful. You have to inspect everything. Now, a lot of these services do have, Google, their spam filter is pretty good. And so a lot of these will go in there, but depending on what you do with the site, you could buy Microsoft-antivirus.com. You could run this thing up the Google search ranks in the SEO, not do anything in the beginning until you built a good reputation just in a week or two. And then you could flip the switch to either make money, harvest credentials, and, and that's why I'm saying that, if I'm going to create this site, there's not going to be broken English. The payment links are going to work. It's going to look legitimate. I'm not going to do that. I would not do that. But what I want to do is I want to warn people about these things, right? Always look at always look at who's sending you emails. Look at the comp. I cannot stress it enough that details. And as the scammers catch on to people getting smarter and smarter and people scrutinizing these, the fraud, I think, is going to get worse. So what I'm saying is pay attention to details. And if you ever have one that you can't tell, shoot it over to me. I'll look at it and give you my opinion on it. And it's always better to err on the side of caution. All right, over to the comments. SPX Lab says, this sounds like a good YouTube video. Try and scam people, but give them their money back. Yeah, so code of conduct allows me to, philosophize, to BS with you about this, but even my conscience couldn't let me pull the trigger on actually doing it. Alexander says, tons of templates out there for phishing scams. Yeah, and even if you receive one and it comes to your inbox and you're like, you could use that as your template. Clarence says, did you notice that when you buy directly from UI, they charge tax on shipping? That's interesting. Is it state dependent? I don't know. Are some states, do they have to collect taxes on service? I guess shipping would be a service. The state of Illinois, we do not collect taxes on service yet. So I don't know if that's the case or not. I do think it's interesting, that other vendors are still not able to offer that extended warranty and things like that. UI, and they did get an email. I did get an email. Everybody else got an email too that, I'm assuming. Now, you have to look at the hierarchy of things when it comes to, who's, affiliate links are pushing more traffic and things like that. But a good amount of us got an email saying, hey, the affiliate program is going to be paused until we can, get supply chain issues figured out, get stock back up, and then it'll kick back on. So starting tomorrow, starting Monday, the affiliate program that I'm part of, it'll be paused. Now, if you're using those links, it's going to be accumulating in the background. And then when Ubiquity turns the switch back on, I should get a payout from those. But all right, SPX Labs, have a good one. All right, Joe from Cajoling Technology says, did you know you can buy a number transfer to another phone on the dark web? Then use the SMS FMA to get into accounts. Point, use a hardware key or at least an auth app. Yes, Joe is absolutely correct over at Cajoling Technologies. You should be using either a hardware token, at or an MFA app like Authy, Google Authenticator at a minimum. Yeah, SMS is sometimes incredibly weak, and so you have to take a look at that. Joe, thanks for pointing that out. Iron Fist says Texas requires tax on shipping, I believe, but if you have a dispute, you can get it refunded if it is charged incorrectly. Yeah, I don't deal with service tax in the state of Illinois, thankfully. So, morning, David Anderson. But, all right, any more questions? I know I appreciate everybody who's reached out over the last couple weeks. Everybody wanting to make sure that everything was okay. That really shows me how much this community means to people and everybody, and I do really appreciate that. I am alive, and more content will be coming. Like I said, just needed a little time off to charge the batteries. So more content coming in the future. Maybe not this week because teaching that class, but coming soon for sure. And every content creator in here, I'm sure, can give a nod to, how sometimes you got to have that break a little bit. All right. Any more questions? Otherwise, looks like I'm going to be wrapping up just in time. All right. So seeing as how there's no questions, I want to thank you all for being here with me today. And, if you need to reach out, williehowe.com, or if you have my email address, feel free to just email me directly, and we'll see, what we can do. If you're just bored, send an email. You need help, send an email. And I'm glad everybody's here, and have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.